चलो आगे। Okay, green morning, green afternoon, green evening. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And namaskar to everybody in India. Ladies and gentlemen, world over, because people join us at different time zones. So thereby we say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. That means green evening. जहां पर भी जो लोग हैं और भारत में सभी को नमस्कार प्रणाम. आज की शाम Sunday evening on 26th of July, yet another powerful evening. And I wish to share with all of you, ladies and gentlemen, during this particular lockdown for the coronavirus, which has come, this pandemic, today is the 64th webinar, which is being done by the ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry. This evening is dedicated to ASEAN, Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, that is the entire Southeast Asia, all the 10 countries, 650 million people over there, right from Myanmar, Cambodia, to Laos, to Singapore, to Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and coming to Brunei, all the countries, and Vietnam, of course. So all these countries, when I talk about all the 10 countries, how India and ASEAN can be together, how we can work out, collaborate, and permutation, combination can be worked out, particularly because at this point of time, we are talking about education. So when we are talking about education, it's very important, whether it's a faculty, or it's a joint research, or it's a innovation, or it's a technology, or it's a skill, or it's a competencies, whatever we can think of in education system, because at this point of time, our chamber is basically focusing. If you see on this first slide itself, on the extreme left, our entire series is dedicated to making education relevant. Why we say making education relevant? जो पढ़ा रहे हैं क्या वो किसी काम का है? जो पढ़ रहे हैं क्या वो आज से कुछ सालों के बाद जब हम पास आउट होके जाएंगे, would it become obsolete or obsolescent, or would we require this education or these skills at that point of time? And particularly when the technology, when you sleep nighttime and you get up in the morning, you've got new tacos, you've got new technology, you've got new apps, you've got so much innovation and so much of research. So ladies and gentlemen, this entire program, when we talk about it, there are a couple of things which we are discussing over here. One by one, we will just take on, I'll share a few of the slides with you. Our chamber since 1994, you've got various verticals. You have got various forums, various chambers. Those are doing extremely good job. They are doing in India, outside India. They are doing for various verticals, agriculture, manufacturing, services, what we also call tertiary sector. But as far as our chamber is concerned, I would like to tell what exactly is the focus. We deal with services sector, and second part is we deal with non-resident Indians. There are more than 30 million people. Those have gone abroad to different countries in different continents, world over, wherever they are. We extend them a very, very hearty welcome to be a part of this particular webinar. And they join us along with their local community, local people, those are there. During this pandemic, We hope that you're taking care of your health, you're taking care of your wellness, you're taking care of not only your family, but your neighborhood, your community, and other people also, those have joined in your particular region. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, while extending you very hearty welcome this evening, I would like to share that this particular series, what we are having and where we have got today, the 64th program, it is dedicated to education sector. Now let me come further. As per UNESCO, at present 1.6 billion children and youth, that means roughly half the world's student population, they are at present away from schools, colleges, universities, polytechnics, technical institutions, engineering, management, and ITIs. Wherever they are studying, they all are away. At present, they are with their parents. They are not in the premises of their school, colleges, and their educational institutions. If that is the scenario, if that is the scene, ladies and gentlemen, we know parents are having lots of difficult moments to handle because they are different age group profiles. And at the same time, there's a digital divide world over. That means somewhere you have got a good bandwidth, somewhere you have got a low bandwidth, and somewhere you have got no bandwidth. So I'm grateful to Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and the Finance Minister of India. The other day, they announced that there will be different television channels, and right from the class 1 to the 12th, they would be covering different contents, modules, subjects, and everything related to that. Besides that, when I was listening to the Honorable HRD Minister, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji from India, he also made a mention that we will try and help every child, irrespective whether they are in metro, they are in rural, they are in semi-urban, they are in urban, or wherever they are in interiors. We'll try and reach out every child wherever they are. So entire government machinery is trying their level best. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, government alone cannot deliver everything. We got to support the system. We got to stand with the government, irrespective wherever they are, which continent they are, and which country they are. We are all together. And for that matter, it's called global education collaboration. When we talk about global education collaboration, we from India always think that the entire world is one world, one love, one family, and that's why we say Vasudev Kutumbakam. That means the entire universe is one. The God is taking care of all of us. And we pray to Almighty from India for each and every person on this planet to be healthy, to be having good wellness, and to be not only physically fit, you got to be mentally fit also. Because most of the people, they crack down when they are not mentally robust. That is something very important you have to understand. And there's a beautiful book by Tim Grover from the United States, who was a coach for the Michael Jordan. He used to say that we spend 99% time in the gym on our body. If we start spending some time on our mind, the whole world will be different, the universe will be different. Ladies and gentlemen, let me proceed further and share with you a little more slides because those have joined today. There's a skills gap. When we are talking about education, whether school education, technical education, vocational education, or for that matter, higher education, there is a skill gap. Whatever is being taught is not 100% practical, acceptable to the corporate sector. And corporate sector is having lots of difficulty. And they say that before we adopt anybody in our company or corporate house or our organization, we got to skill them again, we got to reskill them again, we got to empower them, and we got to bring in some qualities in them. During this pandemic, everybody world over is trying their level best to reach out children, teachers, educators, administrators, technocrats. Everybody is trying their level best. And I consider my teachers, my educators also Yodha like doctors, nurses, and paramedical people are doing wonderful warriors job. Similar way, the education is. And education people are also doing wonderful work when we talk about. But there's a skills gap. And to fill this skills gap, I wish to offer to the entire world, wherever you are, whatever country you are in it, we would like to extend you a very warm gesture from our chamber that we would be more than happy if any country, any institution, any government, any organization is looking forward to any positive inputs or notes to be given to the teachers or to the children, we would be more than happy. Every day we are covering up a lot of modules. We are having a digital beaming. Our channel works from morning 9 till evening 9 o'clock. We are open. There is no problem. There is no difficulty. Digital literacy, blended learning, flip learning, communication skills, sales, marketing, customer services, and virtual marts, how they are going to take events are going to be now virtual. Empathy, anti-depression, stress management, anxiety management, health, wellness, and holistic healing, music therapy, and happiness. I always tell everybody, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to find out world over. If anybody sends me that video, if you can find on the YouTube, kahin na kahin se dhoondiye कि तानसेन जब गाते थे राग दीपक तो दिए कैसे जलते थे, कैसे होता होगा वो क्या सिनेरियो था, वो क्या मंजर था, मैं वो जानना चाहता हूं. एंड आई एम ऑफ ए फर्म बिलीवर ड्यूरिंग दिस लॉकडाउन I am devoting maximum time on understanding what music can do to the brain, what music therapy can do to the brain, and what music can empower the entire education ecosystem with technology. Believe you me, yesterday, Saturday morning, I had one speaker from Malaysia, mind-blowing speaker, Professor V from one of the university, and he talked about the music part, and he talked about what is a positive dopamine which comes. So ladies and gentlemen, world over, if you have got any idea on music therapy, I'm trying to get a club together. I'm going to get all the TED Talk speakers and other motivators and other practitioners. Those are interested to empower teachers and education system and youth through the music therapy. Please help us out. I would be very, very happy. Happiness is very important. And I learned, if you play music, if you listen to music, if you enjoy music, but sad song nahi sunne hain. Romantic and अच्छे positive, अच्छे बढ़िया वाले गाने सुनने हैं. Okay. Positive thinking and robust mind, higher cognitive skills, specific trade skills. This all leads to life management skills. So it's very important to understand over here. Do we need living skills or do we need life skills? We got to understand from that point of view. Ladies and gentlemen, the future belongs to technology. Everything is technology. This slide is the most important slide of my entire presentation when I talk about, ladies and gentlemen, technology is future. You name your everything is going to be related to AI, AR, VI, blockchain, IoT, and many more. Whatever I'm talking about, technology is going to play. और अगर कोई ये सोचता है कि उसका टेक्नोलॉजी के बगैर काम चल जाएगा, then you are mistaken. You're talking in darkness and sadness, and you're talking myth, because future is going to be all, irrespective of your age profile, biological age, and whatever it is. Look at me, I'm 70 plus, but I'm carrying the energy of that 20 years old. This is my lifestyle. I'm passionate. I want to learn. I want to be a student, and I want to be a student till last day. That is the way the world should be. And if we empower education system, ladies and gentlemen, this is the motherboard of humanity, growth, development, and world peace. There is nothing else. Now, we have started this particular series, and you would be so happy to know that 22nd of July, we got 10,000 educators from the world over together on a common platform. And there was a roadmap that is making education relevant in all respect for school education. It was a full day program from morning till evening. That was basically how to empower the entire school education system. These are some of the questions. Those of you, those are interested, I don't want to go through that. You are seeing us live on the Facebook. You can see it later on. And after 1 hour, you will see this particular web portal on this particular program on the YouTube also. You can download, you can, the best part of the technology, you can see as many times as you want. That is technology. That's why they say technology is not that you got to be restricted to one classroom. It is anywhere, anytime, any mood, in any clothes, in any posture, and depending on how you would like to make use of technology. The next day, on 23rd, Thursday, we just had higher education roadmap, international conference on higher education. Why I'm sharing with you is because in future we are looking forward to more people coming and becoming a part of it. And the panelists, those are coming now, they could be, our next program is going to be on 12th of August. Morning 9 o'clock till evening 9 o'clock, 12-hour non-stop education empowerment, because it's a World Youth Day. We have already decided we are going to have 12 hours program of the United Nations coming live from the morning till evening. That is 12-hour non-stop program for empowering entire education ecosystem. So ladies and gentlemen, from higher education, let me move further. This particular web series, which we started on 5th of June, because 5th of June, when we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, this basically is World Environment Day. World environment is very important, because when we talk about world environment, there are going to be a lot of misunderstanding, lot of problems in future, lot of difficulties, because water conservation, water distribution, water crisis is going to be one of the challenges in the whole world. I do not want to tell you, if you could see on the website somewhere, if you could see yesterday's program, every day Z Television has got 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. There's a program called DNA. You must see yesterday's DNA. You will be shocked to see that program, how the future, the world is going to have the crisis. And I do not want to name the countries right now, but in the Southeast Asia, the gentleman discussed for 25 minutes what are the challenges coming up in future, because some of the countries will put the dams, they will block the water, and they will open the floodgates on a particular day, and how it is going to be. You need not to fire a single bullet, but still you will be able to damage so much. Look at the coronavirus. Not even a single bullet being fired, and what has happened to the whole world and what all we are going through. But well, every challenge is an opportunity also. We have positive people, positive dopamine. This particular education empowerment system was to come. It was destined to come after a few years. The only thing, it has come before time. So we should be prepared for it. And when we have carried out a survey from the world over, and in all our webinars, when we are taking the inputs, people are telling we are more happy with the digital education than going physically. That is the way the things are coming up from the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 15th of July, it is celebrated as World Youth Skills Day. And on this particular day, we have started wonderful program every evening. Now, today is a special program because it's Sunday and we are having ASEAN program. But Monday to Friday, when we talk about education, we bring only one panelist, we bring one distinguished guest, along with 6 students from the whole globe. So people from the ASEAN, I extend you a very warm welcome. But it is on the women empowerment, it's on the girl child. And if you are interested to share your views globally with the entire world, then it is possible. We would love to have you with us. We would be more than happy. Any country, anywhere. Now, how it is to be participated, I'll share with you in a little while. That part I will just take on. Ladies and gentlemen, every Saturday morning, 650 million people in ASEAN. I'm already having this webinar this evening. But Saturday morning, we meet 500 million plus people. Buddham, Saranam, Gachami. We get the people from the whole world. And I'm so grateful to Venerable Dr. Dhammapiyaji, the Secretary General of the International Buddhist Confederation, which is taking care of people from world over. They are getting us these celebrities, they are getting the people, they are getting the followers. And why? Why Buddhism? Because we are trying to find out what is the relevance of Buddha's teachings in our today's education system. That's what we talk about. Well, let's come from there and move ahead, and we come on Sunday morning. That is today morning. Of course, before that, Saturday evening is also there. Monday to Friday education, and Saturday evening is health, happiness, humor, holistic living, that is through Ayurveda for the global wellness, every Saturday, 7 to 8 p.m. Don't forget to join us on 1st of August. You will have 5 acharyas, 5 Ayurvedists together, and they will talk to you of the different pedagogies and pathies: yoga, meditation, naturopathy, organic food, nutrition, positive thinking, anti-anxiety, anti-depression, anti-stress, everything they talk with what is to be eaten. That comes Sunday morning. Now it is a Sunday evening, but Sunday morning, it's a morning for many people at present. Now, ladies and gentlemen, every Sunday morning, living a meaningful life, we bring India's epics. Nowadays, we are talking about Srimad Bhagavad Gita in today's education. What is the relevance of Gita? Lord Krishna's, whatever Upadesh he gave to Arjun, what is the relevance of that in today's management education, engineering education, art, science, commerce, whatever we talk about? We get you live program every Sunday morning. Professor Satendra Dhiman from the Woodbury University, California, Burbank, and imagine his first PhD was into education and second PhD in Buddhism. And he has spent last 30 years exclusively learning about India's epics Upanishad. Ladies and gentlemen, let me further proceed and move on from here. And I've got just few slides left over. This is going to be Vidya Se Adhyatam. After Gita, we will be going to Upanishad. This is what I was talking with all of you. Those are joining us today from the world over. 12th of August, Wednesday, by the United Nations. It's a World Youth Day celebration. We will start in the morning at 9 a.m. and will finish at 9 p.m. 12 hours continuous non-stop program empowering, making education relevant. And over here, in the morning we are discussing international school education. Then we are having international higher education. Then we have got recognition, honors and awards. And then the confluence of different continents, youth, teachers, educators, and we will be having their views. We are trying to get 1 lakh people on that particular day with us in this particular program. That's the way we work on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move further. ICSI started this webinar series, Making Education Relevant, on World Environment Day. What I shared with you, that is on 5th of June, water conservation, what we talk about. Now, Jal Sanrakshan is very important for all of us. This is the finding and this is the research by our chamber in the last couple of months, right from the time the pandemic has come, the lockdown has come. This is what we are talking about. Global research team of the ICSI, their findings till 30th of June. The Golden Triangle, what used to be in India, Delhi, Agra, Jaipur earlier, now it is going to be, the first thing is going to be, everybody got to be taking care of their basic food. That is your basic necessity. We would request world over, we are getting a lot of experts in this particular program. We would request each one of you, please try and grow organic food in your kitchen garden, in your residence, on your rooftop, and wherever you have got your place. Kindly grow green, fresh, organic vegetables. Do not eat anything which has been cooked more than 3 hours before. Do not take fridge items. It's not at all good for your health, and it will give you lots of trouble as the age will grow. In 70 years of my age, if I'm carrying the energy of that 20-year-old boy, this is all because of my lifestyle and nothing else. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a teetotaler. I get up at 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And after this webinar, I will go to sleep. No talk, no dinner, nothing. You got to regulate yourself. You got to cut off yourself that way. So basic food is very important, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to be taking care of. Please grow green vegetables in your residence, wherever you are घर की छत पे, घर के आंगन में, आसपास कहीं कोई कोना मिलता है, green vegetables उगाइए. This is very important. And if you have got any experts, those are there to give advice. I would love to have them on this platform. Please suggest. We can have from the ASEAN as well. Majumdar sir, I would request you on that. Second is health and wellness. When I talk about health and wellness, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to understand, people would be spending more money and more time and more efforts where they would be coming, and they would be more interested basically where they would talk about herbal, health, happiness, and holistic healing. What is that? If you want to be physically and mentally fit, you've got to do yoga, you've got to do meditation, you've got to go for naturopathy, you've got to go organic, you've got to think positive, dopamine all the times. That's very important. And third part, we got to understand in education, fraternity, wherever you are world over, the world will never ever get back to what it used to be in month of January and February 2020. You've got to adopt the new norms, and there it's going to be digital education, e-education, flip learning, and whatever you want to talk about, whatever name you want to give, education is going to be altogether different. And ladies and gentlemen, B2B is not going to be known anymore as business to business. It will be known as back to basics. You got to get to the basics of life. एक सादी जिंदगी, सादा जीवन अगर आप गुजारेंगे तो सब कुछ अच्छे से होगा. That's the way we all have to live, and sustainable development. I'm not getting further into details. This is the last slide of my basic before I get to the celebrities of this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, हमारे दिमाग में, हमारे मस्तिष्क में हर वक्त कुछ ना कुछ चलता रहता है. There are more than approximately 60,000 thoughts pass through our mind, zigzag every day, and by nature, most of these thoughts are negative. We got to consciously make them positive. That part is very important, which we have to think about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this evening I wish to request each one of you, कुछ भी असंभव नहीं है. सारी पावर आपके अंदर है. You are universe. You are ultimate. All power is within you. And whatever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. You've got to take this slogan with your life. Anybody who has got a problem, difficulty, depression, anxiety, world over, if you have got any problem, our chamber would be more than happy. Send us an email. Let's come together for making education relevant. Global confluence of educators, motivators, technocrats, counselors, all of us together wherever we are world over. Ladies and gentlemen, International Chamber for Service Industry extends you a very warm welcome. Let's get together to empower the entire humanity. Let's think positive. Everybody can grow. किसी का कंपटीशन किसी के साथ नहीं है. आप बिल्कुल मत घबराइए. कोई किसी का कंपटीशन नहीं है. किसी को डरने की बात नहीं है. वर्ल्ड इतना बड़ा है, इतनी सारी जनसंख्या है, इतनी सारी पॉपुलेशन है, किसी को किसी से नहीं घबराना है. Most of the people they say, and that's why I feel sometimes sad, आयुर्वेदा इंडिया से क्यों चला गया और पेटेंट होके वापस इंडिया में आ रहा है, क्योंकि most of the people they carried the knowledge with them, they did not share with anybody. So ladies and gentlemen, join us as a panelist, send us your suggestion, and here is the email, innovation@icsi.asia. Should you wish to get on WhatsApp, you're more than welcome to send your suggestions on this. This is what I wanted to share with all of you. And with these words, ladies and gentlemen, here are the celebrities of today. Like you have got in Filmfare Awards, you have got celebrities. And like you said, doctors, nurses, paramedical, they are celebrities. Those are empowering education ecosystem. They're also celebrities. People, those are trying to give positive thoughts, positive notes, positive inputs, and they're trying to keep the whole world positive as one family, Vasudev Kutumbakam. They are also warriors and they are celebrities. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, These are my celebrities from ASEAN countries. Let me extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Suhas Joshi, IMF-CDOT Regional Treasury Advisor. He's based out of Thailand. Mr. Suhas Joshi is a highly experienced advisor with 39 years of wide-ranging experience in financial management. He spent 18 years in the government of India in various senior positions, dealing with the finances, and followed by another 21 years at the International Monetary Fund, covering both budgeting and treasury areas. I think the world needs you, Joshi Saab, a lot, because finance is going to pass through a very difficult phase, the whole world. He has worked across the world, including India, Russia, West Africa, Pacific, South and Southeast Asia, and Caribbean, covering 38 countries. Wow. His areas of expertise include budgeting, accounting, treasury management, cash planning, macro fiscal analysis and reporting, internal audit, capital restructuring of these, IFMIS, public investments, and capacity building, delivering regional seminars and organizing and speaking at regional seminars, conferences, and events. A very hearty welcome to Mr. Suhas Joshi ji. He otherwise comes from Uttarakhand in India, which we all know is Kumaon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my second guest is Mr. Rajeev Garg, the Managing Director, Nut Vision, Vietnam. At present, he is in Hanoi. Those of us in India and other places are familiar. When you look at Vietnam's map, it is in northern part of India where he is located. Another part of the Vietnam where he is located, that's at Hanoi. Mr. Rajeev has over 25 years of experience in manufacturing, marketing, business development, consulting, technology, and senior management positions. His expertise include establishment of organizations in market or expansion of existing business in Vietnam, new projects, market insights, team building, business cooperation, and government relations. The main focus of Net Vision are in business consulting, market entry services, M&A, investment and advice, IT services, solutions, especially focusing on BFSI sector. A very hearty welcome to Rajeev Garg ji. But otherwise in India, he comes near Meerut and Muzaffarnagar. There is a place, and that place he belongs to. So those are from UP. You all should clap more than others, the global fraternity, which is clapping for him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got Mr. Atul Chandna. Last week we had lots of difficulties, technical problems were there, and we could not hear his sermon. So today he had been very kind to accept our request and to come. He's the CEO of the Bigfoot Meditech LLC. He is based out of Thailand. He's a result-driven, known for delivering adequate revenue and profit gains within highly competitive regional markets. Profit gain, लोग आपकी इस बात को बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान से सुनना चाहेंगे, अतुल जी. Exceptional communicator with strong negotiation, problem resolution, and client request assessment aptitude. Before stepping into his present position in October 2011, Atul ji has been driving various private and government projects related to IT and IT security. IT security, yes, cyber security is very important. Project financing, again, very important. Technical negotiations, super important. Compliance, yes. IT infrastructure and planning for a number of prestigious organizations, Pan-Asia. Wonderful. What a pleasure to have Mr. Atul with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, ये सूत्रधार हैं. ये सबको इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं आसियान में और सबको लेकर आ रहे हैं. और इनको मैंने रिक्वेस्ट किया है. बायोलॉजिकली मैंने अपने आप को सुपर इम्पोज कर दिया कि मैं आपका बड़ा भाई हूँ. तो अब वो बेचारे कुछ कर भी नहीं पा रहे क्योंकि कहें कि जब कोई सुपर इम्पोज ही करते बायोलॉजिकली तो क्या किया जाए. So I have imposed myself that I am your elder brother. So Mr. Sandeep Majumdar-ji is the president of Indian Chamber of Commerce based out of Cambodia. He is at Phnom Penh, that is in the capital. He is a chairman and managing director of Curewell International Company Limited. Polite and sophisticated, Mr. Sandeep has an unmatched business sense with a strong conviction in ethics and relationships. Business expansion has a meaning for him only if it is accompanied with the value and betterment for his people. So, ladies and gentlemen, with these words, like it happens, and you invite the celebrities, you remove the curtains, you remove everything, and you bring the celebrities on the stage, I hereby remove the curtain and bring at the center stage the celebrities of the ASEAN. They're right over here this evening with us. Hearty welcome to all of them, and it's such a pleasure. And now I think I can rest with meditation and a little bit of yoga while sitting and listening this entire thing. And I hand over to biologically my younger brother, I should call self-imposed elder brother, Dr. Gulshan Sharma. I hand over to Mr.Sandeep Majumdar-ji. He is always a very, very supportive, and together we are working. Of course, Dr. Ramesh Kodamalji, the co-chairman of the Indo-ASEAN Business Council, is giving us a lot of support. And our president is also at present based out of Thailand. So Professor Pantrip Narulaji, thank you very much. You're watching this program. I'm grateful to you. And people have got up early in the morning when it is so early in California. Our immediate past president is watching this program from California, Los Angeles as well. With these words, I hand you over to very distinguished and with a lot of respect, Mr. Sandeep Majumdar.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. You will always, you are elder brother and always remain that way. It's a lot that I learn from you every day. Hearty welcome to all the viewers around the globe. And Dr. Gulshan has already introduced Mr. Suhas Joshi, a good friend of mine, who was here in Cambodia for 7 years. And of course, with his experience, we are very, very happy to have him today. He is a person who has, as rightfully told by Dr. Gulshan, we need people like him in the days of economic crisis. Mr. Joshi has worked with our past Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, very closely. He has worked with our past president, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, while he was the finance minister. So he has a huge experience, and in IMF for last 21 years. While I was trying to give him what topic to speak, I was thinking, I always like to have friends from IMF, World Bank, and ADBs. The reason being, whenever you shake hands with them, you feel the warmth of the dollars because they're always surrounded by money. So I was thinking whether I should give him a topic that what is dollars, how does dollar appreciates the education, how does it correlate to the education? But anyway, he has chosen his subject, which is education in the new norm. So I will hand it over to Mr. Suhas Joshi from Bangkok. Over to you, Mr. Joshi.
Thank you, Sandeep. You're very kind. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. As we see, this is about making education relevant. Now, as we know, education is a lifelong process. So I'm not going to focus only on school education or college education, but the education that one requires throughout life. Gulshanji talked about technology being important, but while technology is important, principles are fundamental. Principles of education are fundamental, and I will focus on that today. As we have seen with the COVID crisis, despite all the good work the private sector does, we have seen that it is very important for governments to actually function properly. And for that to happen, the government officials who probably left their schools and colleges 20 years ago now need to relearn things. Now need to change their focus so that they can actually do things that are necessary for the general population. So that education for those functionaries of government are very important. And there's a need for them to relearn what they had learned and re-implement that. So I'll talk of three things. One is intent of education. Second is content of education. And third is the outcome of such education. Now, intent was very clear. Intent always of education has always been to educate people so that they learn they learn new processes, they learn to think for themselves, and they learn to implement things better. In times of COVID, of course, now we've got a new imperative to the intent. There is a lot of, I'm seeing a lot of people in various organizations, etc., focusing a lot on delivering. So it's very big, delivering a lot of webinars. So it's become very input based. Instead of the outcome, they're looking at input. So I did 14 webinars during the month. So I am a good boy. My boss will pat my back. So that sort of mentality is there. So that the two intents. One is the intent should be to improve things. And the second intent is to just sort of create a lot of work so that it looks like you're doing a lot of work. But as they say in our scriptures, you are in this world, but your job, you have two jobs. One is what is called parmarth, that is doing good for society. And one is prapanch, that is the things that you do to make yourself look important in life. Now, both are equally important because you're living in this world. But if you can manage a 50-50 or 50-50 between prapanch and parmarth, between the actually doing good and making a farce of these things or presentation or making, you know, an advertisement of yourself, that is actually very good. So 50-50 is good. So that is the intent. So what is your intent? That becomes very, very important. Now, moving on to content. So content, how do you ensure in education sector now, especially these days with a webinar going on, how do you ensure attention of your audience? How do you make sure people have not switched off their video and then are going and having a cup of tea, or they're chatting somebody or doing their WhatsApp or emails or whatever? How do you, to do that, you need to make sure that your audience, two things. One, what you are doing and what the audience is doing. You have to, what you are doing is important in the sense that you should have been able to identify the audience needs and focus on that. There was a time 20-30 years ago when people did not have access to a lot of information or advances. Today, a lot of things are available on the internet. I mean, if I look at accrual accounting, I go on the internet, I find people of different nationalities, different colors having YouTube videos on how to do accounting. So anybody can look at those. The question is, for each speaker, for each person who's trying to make education relevant, is to understand or appreciate and ask himself that question, or herself that question: what is my value addition to this? What am I bringing to this? Am I just throwing theory at people? Theory is important. Nobody is saying theory is not important. But if you have a, say, 2-hour webinar, half an hour of theory is enough. The next 1.5 hours needs to focus on practical issues, especially as I'm focusing on government employees. What is it that need to focus? What is it that they need to understand? And how do they need to do these things? So that the outcome will depend on what your input is. And your input will depend on how you have analyzed your own role and your own focus for that, for whatever you are doing. So now the question is, it is not useful merely to have a theoretical background. It is therefore important for the speaker or whoever is delivering an educational seminar to identify the problem of, and I will give you a few examples of 3 countries where we have done this and why we had to take different approaches to these things when we did that. So it's important to sort of focus on what is useful and rely on exercises and examples, especially for the audience that I have in mind, which is government officials. And you have to recognize that your outcomes will depend on identifying and meeting the needs of the different audience. Different audience have different needs. A primary school student will have different needs. A high school student will have different needs. A graduate will have different needs. and somebody who's doing doctorate will have different needs. So you have to, and a government official will have different needs. So the speaker should not just throw material at them, but they have to identify the needs and focus on that. So how did we do that? I'll give you examples of 3 countries. I'll not name the countries. And 3 things become important there. Focus of the audience is important. Good language skills are important, and meeting the needs are important. Now, in the first country, we were talking about accounting, then they had problems in presenting their annual accounts, etc. Now, the audience was very focused. They were working on the problem, so they were very focused. When we made presentations, we had 6 hours of video conferences, etc. with them, and we focused item by item by item on the issues that they had in mind and the problems that they were facing and how to resolve them. And last but not the least, and this is actually very important, the audience had good language skills. So when I speak in English and they understand English, it works very well. It worked so well that all the recommendations that we made were accepted by the government of that country. So focused audience, meeting their needs, and good language skills ensured high success rate. The second country had a different problem. It had a language problem. It still had a very focused audience. We still met their needs, but English language was a problem. So what did we do? We changed the modality. We presented whatever we had to say in 5 different modules. We asked them to do it themselves first with different exercises, send them to us, and then followed it up with 5 webinars to focus on the issues raised by the participants during the exercises that they did remotely by themselves and send the results to us. So that example meant that even though we had a good audience, we met their needs, but language skills needed a slight change in the way the presentation was made, and it took, of course, longer time. So you have to advise. The last country has a very low base, a very low sort of capacity. So there, of course, we developed a course for a generic audience. A generic audience and we developed a course. This was done earlier this year when there was no COVID. So we developed a 10 module seminar which were to be presented face to face. But unfortunately, the language is a huge barrier in that country. So what we have decided is that when the COVID situation is improved, then and only then we will present it. Otherwise, it is a waste of time. There's no point doing something just because you are going to do something, which brings you back to the first question of intent. What was the intent? Learning was the intent. If learning is not being achieved, no point doing it. No point wasting your resources. Take it somewhere else. So it's very important, therefore, to be having a very clear concept of what is your intent for any educational event, what is the content that you will have, and what is the outcome that is expected. So having a good set of audience is extremely important, because those of you, I mean, my colleagues who are listening from India will recognize this from Ramcharitmanas, and people in Cambodia and Thailand, etc., and Indonesia will recognize Ramki. So there he says, Murakh karahu nachet jo guru milahi biranchisam. So he says the fool will not recognize, will not gain any advantage, even if he has a guru like Brahma. Biranchi is Brahma. Thaprom in Cambodia. So Murakh karahu nachet jo guru milahi biranchisam. So there's no point having an audience that is not going to appreciate what. It may not be fools, but they may not appreciate what you are doing. So there's no point wasting your resources on that. So as I said, we come back to this thing, the fundamentals of intent, content, and that will present an outcome that you would like to have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. very innovative, very informative. And since we are in Thailand already with the speakers, my next speaker would be Mr. Atul Chandna. He will be speaking on the advantage of artificial intelligence and role of technology in education. As Dr. Gulshan said that last time there was an issue, so I will hand over our next speaker, Mr. Atul, to take it forward.
Thank you, Sandeep ji, and a very good evening to all, and a very good evening from Bangkok again. Thanks, Dr. Gulshan ji, for inviting me onto this panel. I am actually, going to speak about a little about the role of technology in this COVID time. I will read out a brief. What I have actually gone through is, in the last centuries, globalization has brought us substantial progress in many sectors. Global trade has increased the material prosperity of people all over the world. It has strengthened economies and improved living conditions across the globe. Thanks to technology, we are an ever more connected world. The consumers now able to choose from unprecedented variety of products from global market. The current crisis has led to an increase in economic distancing. This trend endangered economic welfare around the world. During COVID pandemic that hit global market very hard, weakening international trade and corporations, technology are playing crucial role in keeping our society functional in a time of lockdown and quarantine. These technologies may have a long-lasting impact even beyond COVID-19. The economic benefits are extensive, from innovative means of production. Fast communications technologies has been ever and will continue to be essential service in supporting every field. Now, as this platform is about education, the technology and the communication has brought an education on the 12-inch screen. Now this 12-inch screen has become a new classroom reality. The focus is, as I said, Mr. Joshi, Suhas Joshi said, the intent, content, and outcome are important. So as over here, the technology is turning education from teacher-centric education to both teacher and student-centric education. Like I'll give you an example, in a traditional classrooms, when a teacher is writing on the blackboard, she has a back or he has a back on the students. But now, teacher can see on this 12-inch screen every student, and students can focus on the teacher, what is she's delivering. So the adaptation of smart classroom systems by schools and is transforming the education to traditional education. Though the crisis is devastating, it is making our schools and colleges technologically advanced. It will improve the quality of education through e-learning and smart classrooms due to accelerated adaptation of digital technology triggered by lockdown. Education system across and adopting online learning will improve a lot in future. Initially, there were hiccups in adopting technology, especially like online classrooms or virtual realities, especially with the small children. But a continuous improvement has brought the tools and the technology in the hand of teachers to make it more interactive and interesting to the small children. So they are able to pay more attention towards the classes, more attention towards the teachers, and teacher is able to focus on individual progress because she can see every student, she can answer every student, and she can focus every student over there, or he or she. The learning tools and technology enable students to develop self-directed learning skills. Like before, generally in our traditional classrooms, we have textbooks. So whenever teachers are doing any citations or an examples of it, or any kind of examples, the textbooks are the only areas where the students were used to explore. But with the help of online technology and this virtual classrooms, it has become very easy to actually go beyond the textbooks. So they are having more life realistic examples. They can actually, bring more realistic things to the student, more current things to the students instead of the textbooks. So the content available over the internet is more dynamic, more up to date, and it helps students to be on more current affairs. The virtual tours are even becoming popular among small children. Sharing content is easier. Like in generic with the small students, it was quite evident that students get distracted. The static textbooks or the static content does not, the repeated or the content deliveries, they become more monotonous. So now with the online content which is available on either YouTube or certain other we can Google around, so teachers can actually bring those live examples in front of small children, so they can explore more, they can learn more, they can interact more, they can focus more instead of static textbooks at the moment. How these technologies have become more possible to reach a common person. Thanks for a lot of telecom conglomerates, they're investing heavily in strengthening the infrastructures and making data more affordable to common reach. If you remember the days when the data packages were provided complimentary to start with the internet on our mobile phones, but the calls were charged very high. But what we see as the complimentary service has become a commodity over calls and messaging service. Now, the entire transition has happened where the data is coming at a cost and calls are coming free. So we can understand that tomorrow the technology is moving more rapidly on the data usability in terms of technology updations, in terms of educations, in terms of finance, in terms of all related subject fields. Sandeep ji had mentioned that in just apart from the education, how the technology is helping in education, he had mentioned that to cover up, some artificial intelligence, how they're playing major role. So a very interesting subject which came to my mind on that is how artificial intelligence is helping identify psychological disorders in students. A lot of students from initial stages, they are having like a different kind of psychological disorders. Artificial intelligence, we've been working, in fact our company is working on a lot of artificial intelligence, and we have filed certain patents globally to recognize those psychological students or disorders in early stages, so that when a student is grown up, can overcome all those issues. The artificial intelligence we have done through is like speech and stress analysis. Now this can be done very easily through just a small telephone call. While we are in conversation with each other, like a student or a teacher are in conversation, there's a technology which is residing in between, can identify what kind of psychological disbalance the student has. And it can create a path, it can suggest a path to a teacher through a different stress or a pattern test. Now, this can help students, technology can help students to overcome those issues when they're ready for the market or they're ready for their life ahead. This can even help teachers a lot to put focus on certain students who are actually finding this a difficult, or at this age, a student are facing a challenge in stressing, or it is putting up a strain on their education, in their personal life, or wherever it is, concerning or it is challenging for them. So through an artificial intelligence, we can actually identify what are the pain areas and what are the areas wherein we can improve them to overcome of this situation. We should learn from this COVID-19 pandemic and improve the performance of the existing infrastructure to address any possible future risk more effectively. The best way to communicate is to use advanced technology solutions. This set of new norms, one where co-creation through collaboration, using more dynamic and agile networks of trusted organization, will be the new business as usual. With this conclusion, I would like to go back to Mr. Sandeep. This is all I wanted to present as of now on AI.
Thank you, Mr. Atul. Now, since our dear friend, my elder brother, Dr. Gulshan, as he said, that he is although 70 in age, but he works as a 20-year-old person, which I fully agree. I've seen him start doing one webinar a day on Sundays. It increased to 2, and now we are seeing that every Sunday he's having almost 3 to 4 webinars. Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. We learn from the way you energetic and the way you speak. And I look forward to learn and work with you for more. Now, since he has changed my role, I am very happy. He did not find me, probably joking apart, although, that from a panelist, he has made me an advisor, which makes my job very easy, because then I don't have to stick to the subject. I can probably focus and give some tips to the young crowd who are watching around the globe. And I will make it short before I give my last speaker a chance to speak. Now, there are some tips which I would like basically to give to the young crowd, the young and dynamic people, my students who are watching. Just remember, 5 things never come back: the spoken words, the wasted time, the past life, the lost love, and the neglected opportunity. So think twice before you act. 3 things are necessary to make every man and nation great: conviction of power of greatness, absence of jealousy and suspicious, helping all who are trying to be and do good to others. Don't let small mind convince you that your dreams are too big. Dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, and a plan backed by action becomes your dream come true. Limitations live only in your minds. But if you use our imagination, our possibilities become limitless. A correct decision can double the confidence, and a wrong decision can double the experience. So no need to worry about both the situations. Continue to do your efforts. There are 7 things that will destroy us: wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without a character, religion without a sacrifice, politics without principle, science without humanity, and business without ethics. And respect, the most important element of our personality. It is like an investment. Whatever we give to others, it will return to us with profit. Now, we have our dear friend, Mr. Rajeev Garg from Vietnam. Dr. Gulshan, while introducing him in our private chat before this webinar started, he did tell us that I should not be jealous about Vietnam doing better than Cambodia. But Dr. Gulshan, let me tell you, I was in Vietnam even before coming to Cambodia, and probably much before Mr. Rajeev was in Vietnam. So I have seen Vietnam grow, and I'm very happy that I have an office there for last 20 years, plus 20 years. So all these countries are like your own children. So if one does better than the other, we will never feel jealous. We will always try to bring ourselves to that expectation. With this, I would like to give the mic to Mr. Rajeev Garg from Vietnam. He has been thrice the president of the Indian Chamber of Commerce in Hanoi. He is an independent businessman, as Dr. Gulshan has already introduced him. So over to you, Mr. Garg.
Okay, thank you, Sandeep ji. Thank you, Dr. Gulshan ji, for giving me an opportunity to speak today. I would like to put my views how the education is relevant in terms of business development, investment, people-to-people contact among India, ASEAN, or among the nations in the world. So one of the famous personality told me one time that sign of education is confidence, courage, compassion, creativity, and commitment. These words so relevant and true to be called one educated. Education is not just getting literate or getting certificates or degree. I believe education should bring knowledge, creativity, compassion, tolerance, discipline, eagerness to learn continuously, and understanding about others. This is the only way we can have peaceful and progressive world. After this COVID and stressful situation, education must focus and include on psychological and behavioral aspects. In globalization, everyone is having high level stress and competitiveness. Our coming generation should be taught in dealing for such aspects, so that we have confident, healthy, and strong generation in coming time. We should also bring exposure about interculture, language, and history, so young generation have better understanding about each other, about different nations. If we don't emphasize on this, I believe there is always danger for racism, superiority, depression, power struggle. As our Veda say, or even Dr. Gulshan say in the starting of the program, that Vasudev Kutumba, this is actual meaning of globalization. And we discovered this 1,000 years back. We should bring this aspect in our education to reduce various imbalance in society and among nations. Now looking at India-ASEAN region, education linkage will play a major role for the development of relation among all the nations, and also prosperity for everyone. There is a huge scope to learn from each other in this vibrant region. If we look at in ASEAN region, there are many good institutions which having world-class education system, like in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. Same is applicable in India. We have very good institutions like IITs, IIM, Indian Institute of Science, or private universities like Manipal, and etc. These institutions should collaborate, cooperate, and having a student exchange program, faculty exchange, and even on R&D projects. This way to bring international experience among students and sense of own belonging and belonging of others. Such cooperation will address the challenge which I highlight earlier in this globalization. Indian universities, I believe, should seriously look to set up campus outside of India, especially in management, finance, ICT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, nanotechnology, biotechnology, where Indians universities are doing remarkable job. Same way, Indian government should encourage foreign institutes or universities to set up campus. Such cooperation will bring cultural exchange, among coming generation. Thus, we will have more better understanding of each other to live and support this world. Now, let me touch base about Vietnam, where I am based. Vietnam has a literacy rate of over 95%, which is remarkable. I believe this rate must be higher, as I couldn't find anyone who cannot read and write in last 24 years during my stay in Vietnam. Even they don't have concept of thumb impression in any government department. I believe that is one of the reason country is progressing at very rapid pace. One of the fastest growing economy in the world, I believe. As I mentioned earlier, education should bring creativity, compassion, discipline, knowledge, and understanding about our own nation and about other nations. Understanding of history of achievements in the past. It will always encourage young generation to do constructive work in the life. Positive sense of past and current situation always cultivate passion to do something good. And we should, in education or in the society, should encourage such kind of linkage between past and current if we want to make future better. Vietnam government is putting a lot of efforts to keep education system up to date in terms of technology, and they are adopting new technology, digital technology, online education system. The government is coming up very innovative ideas in coming time. I have observed Vietnam government is paying good attention towards that. Vietnam is also allowing foreign institutions to set up the base in Vietnam. That will definitely bring a lot of change in the education system. Recently, one of the private business house set up Win University in the collaboration of Cornell University, USA, which has set up the world-class campus. And they are exploring the cooperation and exchange program worldwide with various institutions. And I believe including India also. The objective is to bring exposure to their student about international education system, global scenario, adopting various cultures, situation, new technology, and helping them to be a good candidate to work and contribute to society and the country. I believe Indian private universities or even the government universities should look outside India also to make such kind of setup. In the last, I would like to emphasize that India-ASEAN region should form a joint committee, including government officials, representatives from various universities, colleges, private business representative, to identify or form a concrete policy on the cooperation on education, linkage between India and ASEAN for higher studies, sharing the each other's strength to bring world-class education system for students. I believe ICSI under leadership of Dr. Gulshan will be right body to work towards the same. Education linkage or exchange program, not only giving exposure to students, but also strengthen business, investment and tourism industries. The relation between countries become more interdependent once people to people connect is growing, and it brings more better prosperity and peace in the world. For realization of true power of globalization, I believe education should be the most important aspect among all nations. And this is the only tool which will make world much better to live for upcoming generation. That is from my side on how the education is relevant in connecting the nations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rajeev. I think your point well taken. ICSI President, Professor Narula, I understand he's watching this event. He has been here in Cambodia. We were very lucky to have him here for 3 days along with Dr. Gulshan. He's the one who initiated that. And what you were telling, Mr. Rajeev, I think I will take it up on this show later on with Dr. Gulshan, whenever it is possible to have such a joint committee wherein we can think of doing something for this region. Thank you for your advice on this, and I'm sure Dr. Gulshan will also think and talk to Professor Narula and see what can be done next. So thank you to Mr. Atul, Mr. Suhas, Mr. Rajeev. I hand it over to my big brother, Dr. Gulshan, again to take this forward. Dr. Gulshan, over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandeep ji. It was such a wonderful, you deliberated the entire thing so well, and we got lots of inputs and lots of ideas. I've got few things to share with all of you, and I think about 2 to 3 minutes we will take with everybody, and then accordingly. And first we will talk with Mr. Joshi. There is a question in Q&A which is posted for him. Should you wish, I can just you can see here. It is from Mr. S.L. Bunker. He says, my question is, Mr. Joshi. Hi friend, you have mentioned about government employees, but they are bound by rules and regulations and presidents, hence very little scope for adoption of any new idea in their day-to-day functioning. So could you please suggest some methods by which they could be educated well when they are in service periodically and they are still bounded by so many rules and regulations?
Well, that's a very good point. Actually, I think you know, when I was in Russia in 1999 as the IMF advisor, and in those days in Russia, nobody knew what a check was, what a checkbook was. And the question was, how do we make payment? Because we don't know what a check is. So sometimes, yes, it's a good point. Sometimes some rules and regulations need to be changed. In government officials, we are not talking about just interacting with middle level officials. Education is equally important for the top officials too, because they are the ones who have to bring about change. The middle level officials will implement the change. The top level officials will bring about the change. So you have to work at both levels. Just working at the middle level is not going to work at all. You have to work with both levels. The second thing I keep telling people is, and we keep saying, for instance, when they have to say present their accounts, some people are using old accounting systems, and you say, let's present it in IPSAS accounting. They say, but there's no rule provided. I said, but there is no rule which prevents you from doing it either. And we all know in governments, if you want to do something, you can find a way to do it. I was 18 years in government of India. Believe me, if you want to do something, you will do it. If you don't want to do something, nothing will make you do it. That is how a government servant operates. So it's a question of at what level are you applying that information and knowledge and necessity of change. That is the crucial part.
Thank you. There is a watch party on different countries because they are on the Facebook. And I'm getting one after another, all the watch parties. If you see on my mobile, this is I'm getting from the different countries. Now, there's another question for you. You mentioned somewhere about language barrier. Now, yes, people have written over here, they don't want to mention a country. They don't want to mention a destination, but they say that people are very warm. People are very hospitable. People are very good to deal in hospitality, tourism and all. But the problem is there is a language barrier in a particular place or particular destinations in Southeast Asia, in ASEAN. What could be done for that?
Well, that is the real issue because, you know, in the pre-COVID days, it was far easier because you could sit there in a meeting with an interpreter and do things. So we did recently a mission in one country where language is a barrier, that one of the countries that I mentioned. And if we had actually been able to go into that country, the work would have taken us 1 week. 1 week, because I know from experience it would have taken 1 week. Since we had to do it by remote, it took us 3 months just backing and forthing because of the communication barrier. Now, there is very little. There are two things to do. Either those people learn their language or I learn their language, right? I mean, the teacher learns their language. Both are not going to be done easily. So that is a real problem. That is a real problem, which is why I gave the second example where what we have done is we had a 5-module course. We translated that entirely into the local language and told them to do it in that language and then come back to us. And then we will have a webinar so that then we can explain to them more clearly Once they have read it, once they have read the material, there is a certain degree of understanding, and there are only a few questions left, which you can then clarify. So we are trying to do it in different ways. We are all learning at this stage. All of us are learning this new process now, which we have never done before. So yes, this is an issue, absolutely an issue, but there are different ways to deal with it, which is what we are, example that I'm giving you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. It's wonderfully being taken care of. Atulji, I have got two questions for you. First question is that, is there any country in ASEAN which is working on gamification in education? That is the first question which is coming. That means, I hope my voice is reaching you.
Yes, sir. Can you repeat again?
Is there any country in ASEAN region which is manufacturing or which is working on gamification in education? Gamification in education.
Yes, sir. In fact, Thailand is working on a lot of projects, something like this, wherein they are doing, something like a Disney has done. So they are working out a regional language on, gamification in education. They are actually putting up a lot of content, a lot of, organized learning in that process. So Thailand is most prominent. They are more active towards this subject as compared to any other country I know by far in this region.
Okay, I won't name the people those have asked because it will be impolite on my part. But there is a very valid question they have asked me. They told that could you request Mr. Atul to come again? I think Sandeep Majumdar-ji, there is some bonding between ASEAN and Atul and audience. I don't know. He has come today second time. First time the internet gave a problem. You know what they are requesting? They said, you discuss the most important part of education for future, but you have not shown any visuals. You just talked only. So they are requesting me that please ask Mr. Atul that he can come again. He should come again. And this is coming from all the way from Philippines. Not anywhere else. I don't want to name a person. But this is coming from Philippines. They say ASEAN, when we are talking about artificial intelligence, augmented reality, blockchain, Internet of Things, and education getting into a flip part or digital mode, it would be most appropriate if Mr. Atulji brings some visual which he should share with us. So what we would request you is two requests I'll make to you now.
All right, sir.
Because
give me the orders.
Technology, no, I got to make a request to you. Technology plays very important role. First part is, let's find out the companies in ASEAN region, those are at present manufacturing gamification in education. That is the first part. Second part, if there are institutions, if there are some institutions which are already having gamification as a part of education, then we should bring those institutions also on board. After all, we are looking forward to India and ASEAN education collaboration. And if you're looking forward to collaboration, we must know who are the people those are already imparting. Like there is one institution which is being taken care of by one retired Lieutenant General from the Indian Army in Bangalore. An entire institute is by robots. There's no teacher there. It's all complete 100% is robots. So what I'm telling is that let's talk about gamification in education. Which are the corporate houses? Secondly, which are the institutions? And third part, which they are requesting me and they are telling me that how India and ASEAN can collaborate. Because like with Mr. Majumdar, we were talking earlier that there should be a joint research, joint innovation, faculty exchange, and other things, which can take place. Now, skills and competencies also collaboration has to be taken in future. because skills are not going to be imparted the way they were imparted earlier. So with the new norms and what is going to be the new normal, because whether we like it or not, what was to come after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, it has come before time. But let's take it as an opportunity and as a challenge, and we should prepare itself. You know, that
You're
is
very right on this.
So I would request you, because it's coming over here, and it's right. You can see how many, I can bring it closer to the mic. All these questions are for Mr. Atul. So you got
All
to
right,
see,
sir.
these are the watch parties from the world over. Let's make your talk and your presentation more with the visuals, more with the ground realities in ASEAN, and how India and ASEAN can work together on that.
So next week, let's schedule. I'll bring out more emphasis rather just being on speech. I'll bring out certain slides and certain content for a reference so that people can really understand how artificial intelligence is helping education sectors or a finance sector. In fact, when Suhas Joshi ji added, since he's from a financial background, he would understand that, identification of false positive is not only a factor in in finance, but it is now adaptive and very relevant in education sector as well. It can actually help a lot of, whether it is teachers, whether it is a student, to finding out false positives and actually making up a polite correct path to educate them. But certainly, like, I will bring in the next a meeting, probably like on next Sunday, I will bring up subjects related to that, and will try to cover up as per the request whatever is the content I can gather.
There's another last point for you, because your subject is so relevant. Mr. Sahil Khosla is telling that let's work out some actual demonstrations, maybe after a week or maybe after 2 weeks, whatever is there. But I think some collaboration has to be worked out on that. Why not ASEAN, India? Majumdar-ji, kindly look into it, because this part is very important, which we have to take care of. Thank you, Atulji. Let me go to Mr. Rajeev Garg. Garg sahab, as far as Vietnam is concerned, when we talk about Vietnam, you have given that Indian universities should look beyond and out and digital part. So the question which comes for you is, first, do we have any existing collaborations? Do you have any idea of any university in Vietnam from India? Or do they have offshore campus from India in Vietnam at this point of time?
Okay, thank you very much for asking this question. As far as I know, till now, there is no such offshore campus by any Indian universities in Vietnam. In the past, I think some of the universities, I don't want to name, they try to explore, but that has not moved. And I believe that there is a good scope for Indian universities to look to set up the campus, especially which I mentioned in the technology, management, finance, and new technology like AI, ML, nanotechnology, biotechnology, which I just mentioned. So there is a good scope Indian universities should explore.
Okay. Second part is that when we talk about the language part, once again, of course, do you require, or is there any setup, something similar to the finishing school which our chamber set up earlier, where basically the communication skills part, personality enhancements part, basic sales, marketing, PR, and other kind of things, and of course with that the technical skills. Do you feel that there is a scope of the IT companies to come to Vietnam from India in education?
Yes, there is because Vietnam is, they highly regard about India in the technology, which I was also mentioning in terms of management. They know Indians are very good on the management and at the top position worldwide, heading very, top multinational companies, and the technology and the finance. So there is definitely a good scope for IT companies to come up and set up the skill set development in the technology area or in the language skills, where the Vietnamese and Indians can cooperate together for technology outsourcing business. There is a lot of scope to develop the, set up the BPO kind of thing in terms of software development. And I believe that there is one of the biggest corporate in the technology is looking to set up big campus in Vietnam in coming time. They have already got the investment license. Because of COVID, there is a delay. And once they come, they will be putting the 1,000 people based in Vietnam for software development. I think that will bring more and more technology companies to Vietnam.
Okay. Is there any big corporate house of the IT at present existing in Vietnam? Because like NIIT has got in Uzbekistan, Tashkent, other places and all that. Is there any, or Tata Consultancy or somebody from the IT background, is there somebody at present in Vietnam?
Okay, see, education, AppTech is doing very good. They have, I think about 100 centers imparting the education in technology in the cooperation with Vietnamese organization called FPT. They are here from last 15-20 years, and NIIT also came, but yes, AppTech is more successful in the education sector. Apart from that, in the IT services and solutions business, I can tell you that Tech Mahindra is here. Infosys is doing business in Vietnam. TCS, not TCS, Tata, technology, Tata Teleservices, they are also doing some business in Vietnam. Apart from that, there are many other IT technology companies from India are working various projects in Vietnam. But the major companies, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, is definitely are very active in the country.
Okay. There are a couple of questions. Somebody has asked, I request you all to explore the possibility of faculty exchange among educational institutions with ASEAN countries. Maybe a short-term assignment, online assignment, or something else which could be done between India and ASEAN.
I think this is very good suggestion, and that's what I was speaking also. Exchange program, not only for faculty, but student exchange. I believe that will change the lot of things between India and ASEAN. When the students link together, when the faculty link together, there is a vibration in the relationship, in the business, in the investment, people to people connect, tourism, and that's how India should definitely look this very seriously to have such kind of relationship with 10 countries of ASEAN.
At present, ICCR, that is under Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, is already having that program. Mr. Majumdar is aware of that because a lot of youth, they come on exchange program from there for a short while. That is altogether different. Over here, that is a cultural exchange. And at present, nobody knows, to be very frank, nobody knows how long the COVID will go on. Number two, nobody knows when the first vaccine will come. Number three, even if it comes, who is going to get first and what's going to be the cost? And number four, God forbid, we got to be mentally prepared. Hope that this particular corona will not bounce back after the herd community or whatever is being talked about. Nobody knows about it at this point of time. So education sector has to get to the new normal, to the new mode where the technology has to play a very important role. So I think you, as Mr. Majumdar told me, that you're taking care of the chamber in Vietnam. A lot could be done with Vietnam and at same time with the other countries also in the ASEAN. And suggestion which you gave, that confluence of experts and other things, we would be more than happy. Let's develop a pool from all the 10 countries, all the 10 countries of the ASEAN. Let's select 10 people from each country. Because tourism, my heart would bleed at this point of time if you talk about, because I dream tourism, I think tourism, I eat tourism, I sleep tourism, I get up tourism. My master is in tourism, my PhD is in tourism. I set up India's first institution for tourism while being with my team in the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. I drafted the first MBA tourism for India. You don't know what pain I am going through. My travel agents, my tour operator, my tourist transporters, my adventure tourism, eco-tourism, nature tourism, green tourism, everything is in difficulty at this point of time. Let's not think about tourism and dream about tourism at this point. What I'm purely looking from a point of view is education, if we can somewhere support between India and ASEAN. And if we select about 10 people and in a folding hands, I would like to say, Mr. Atul's department will play more important role in that, because everything is going to be virtual. Everything is going to be digital. Everything is going to be technology based. And of course, I cannot neglect Mr. Joshi because he has to give me the money. I have to talk about the money part also. No, you are not giving me physically. I'm just sharing. I can take your expertise. I can take your expertise on that. That's what I'm sharing. So that is just to bring a laughter and humor and little, otherwise subject shouldn't become too serious. So my request to you is, Majumdar Sahab, I think we got to take a lead somewhere and we got to work out a strategy. There are 10 countries in ASEAN. Let's start from one side. Let's start taking 10 people, and Joshi Sahab can help us at least to identify 1 or 2 people. Those are experts in finance in respective countries. Similar way, Atulji can find out 1 or 2 organizations. Those are into augmented reality, artificial intelligence, technology-based, school, colleges, institution, universities. Garg Sahab from the chamber can find out when I talk about MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprise, and what can be done. Okay, let me focus not on entire India. Let me focus on northeast part of India. Northeast part of India, 8 beautiful states are there. When I start right from all the 8 states when I'm talking about, it has got a lot of cultural linkages, art, craft, handicraft, people, features, cuisine, whatever I get about, dances, music and all that. Can we think of, let's talk about digital education collaboration, digital education exchange, research, joint innovation, joint skill programs, because a lot of people would be there in that part of the world, these 650 people, because I must compliment that ASEAN is the most peaceful and most progressive region at this point of time. Joshiji, I think you will vouch for it because you're the financial head. What do you think about it?
No, that is our, in the IMF, that is our reading that in the next fiscal year, the GDP growth will primarily be in the ASEAN region, plus China and India.
And also there is a question which has come from Philippines all the way. How can we cater to the less fortunate students in the digital world in the education? I think this is really a burden on their part, sir. And let's do something. As every day I appeal the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, the technology, when I talk about Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, the Education HRD Minister of India and his entire team, that is Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji, and all other stakeholders, when we are talking about, let us try and give more budget for seamless connectivity. Let's give more and more. And second part is, sometime back they had thought of in this government to give small iPad free of cost to the children. Why not to give a small mobile phone, which is basically used only for education system, and at the same time, every television channel, irrespective, whatever is the community radio television channel, they all should have 1-hour program on education. Like you have got 24-hour news channel, you have got entertainment channel, you have got some other channel. Let's do a charity at this point of time, and all of us from the world over should come together, support each other the best possible way. That is called Vasudev Kutumbakam. Every channel, whether radio or television or whosoever is there, and for that matter, I personally feel Microsoft, Google, Cisco, all these platforms, they should provide some kind of a support under CSR from their side also. And wherever the students are less privileged, wherever we have got more problems and more difficulties world over, all these people should come forward and support That's what would make education relevant. And that would make education accessible to everybody. I think we got to see it on those lines, what we have to work out and we have to plan. So final words, let's take Mr. Majumdar. I request you and give you a little bigger responsibility with the support of the people, those have already come in the sessions and those are likely to come in the session. Those are watching world over this particular program, particularly from the ASEAN region. Let's identify 10 people from each country. That makes a pool of about 100 people. I will also identify 100 people from different states, different regions, different pockets in India. These 200 people, let's start working together how to empower the entire education collaboration between ASEAN and India. That's the way we can look at it, and the efforts would become meaningful. I think Mr. Garg wants to say something. Yes, Mr. Garg. I could read your body language. Yes.
No, thank you very much. I think your idea is very good, and that is what we should do to develop the education linkage between the countries. And India will have a lot of opportunity working with ASEAN countries and same time ASEAN countries. And you said rightly that let's we identify the different personalities from all the countries, and they should come on one common platform to derive a policy on how to cooperate in the digital format or online education, and especially Northeast, because Northeast look like, especially if you see Vietnam or, Myanmar or CMLV countries look like very close to Northeast market, Northeast, our country, states. Thank you very much.
I dedicate my life to Northeast part of India and next birth. Although being from Punjab and North India, I would pray to Almighty I'm born in Northeast. Right from Tripura, Manipur, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Sikkim. These are wonderful people. While being in the army, way back, when I look at my 42 years of these people, they are such a wonderful souls on this planet. They are such a wonderful people on this planet. I owe my life to them. That's the way I personally feel each one of them. They're so dedicated. They're so simple. They're so humble. They're so accommodating. And I'm going to say, you just take on, why not? And Northeast being so close to Southeast Asia, ASEAN, I think we can work it out. This webinar should not remain only as a webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, from world over, you have joined. And this is a global appeal. All the stakeholders in the technocrats and the technology, those are having big platforms under CSR activities. Let's support boys and girls world over who cannot afford the digital divide, who cannot afford to have the basic equipment, basic machine, because maybe some families are there where only there is one mobile in home. And when the father will go for the work, what the children will do at home. We do not know how long this pandemic will continue. We do not know how long this difficulty would be there. If we really want to, because cosmetic things are happening, lip service, if we are doing, that's not going to happen. And like Joshi ji mentioned, lots of webinars are happening world over if it doesn't have a positive outcome. So this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we finish this discussion and deliberation with a commitment. 4 of you and 5 is mine. 5 of us, we will have a pool of 100 people being developed from the ASEAN, and I will get you 100 people from India, 200 people together. Let's make a humble contribution and start, and it should be a new consortium. It should be a new empowerment, and we should work out the entire strategy. I will speak to all the stakeholders in India. Those are providing technology. And Atulji, you got to smile because you got to come back again on the popular demand of the public, not on my demand, but the world needs you. People want to have more practical from you and they want to get to know. And from Joshi Saab, we will keep having Majumdar Saab. I'm so grateful to you. You brought Mr. Garg today. You brought Mr. Atul ji today. And you brought Mr. Joshi today. There was so much to learn from these souls on this planet. I'm a humble student of all of you, and I wish to learn from all of you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And thanks for joining this evening. And great morning and great afternoon and great evening. Green morning, green afternoon, green evening, wherever you are world over. God bless all of us. Thank you very much. On the Facebook, Please share your details to get the e-certificate. Unless you don't share that, it will be difficult for us to know. 15th of August, we want to give 1 million certificates from International Chamber for Service Industry. It's an e-certificates which should go to the world over. Every day, those are coming on this panel, those are coming on the Facebook, those are coming on the watch parties. Please share information with others, share knowledge with others. Sharing only will make the global fraternity being empowered. And ladies and gentlemen, education is the base for the development of the humanity. God bless all of us. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. With that, we are signing off and look forward meeting you, Majumdar-ji, next Sunday, 5 p.m. for the ASEAN. But please don't forget others, 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, we have got our education web series. God bless.